thank you very much. You've given me an award, and I have a table full of people that made the award possible. So I'm going to start with Rusty Cunningham, who was the editor of the Winona Daily News. Rusty is responsible for two major pieces of legislation. One is to have access to public information. This started with the problem that we had at the Winona School Board and getting information out, and then expanded statewide to information and how much you need to pay when you want to get public information. If it hadn't been for Rusty's editorials and then his advocacy at the state legislature, you wouldn't have that type of access. Secondly, Sandy Nearin. Sandy Nearin is a lobbyist. And for those of you who think that's a bad word, it isn't. She's also a government relations operative of the highest caliber. She made my work extremely easy. If you think I did good things, she was there ahead of me, paving the way. I worked with her for 20 years on several pieces of legislation. She worked with Republicans and Democrats, but she always got me the information I needed, either as the author or as a committee chair. Superlative individual. If you want to know about the legislative process, have her come and speak to your groups. We also have our reporter, Rachel Mergen, who won an award yesterday. I was up until midnight on the House floor, so forgive me. And this continues a tradition with the Winona Daily News. My aunt, Doris Pelowski, started at the Winona Daily News at 16. She worked there until she retired in her 60s. She is the only woman in the United States that ever ran a hot lead press. And I know most of you go, I don't think those existed. Yeah, they did. And because of some connection she had, Governor Perpich, upon her retirement, made it Doris Pelowski Day. But she did one other thing. She saved every article about her nephew, every picture that appeared in the paper of her nephew, and on the back porch, which is really the front of the house, because that's where everybody came in, she put all of those on the wall the day her nephew was elected until the day she died. So you had a decade plus of yellowing, scotch tape, fading articles and pictures, and you had all the relatives saying, Dory, don't you think it's time to take it down? And Dory would go, it's not over till it's over. And only when she passed away was I allowed to take it down. So for those of you that gave me this award, I have one other relative. Roy Lord is my uncle, wasn't married to Dory. He worked at the Winona Daily News for over 45 years. So between Dory and my uncle, we had 100 years of Pelowskis at the Winona Daily News. And between the two of them, when I was campaigning, they knew every step I made. If I went to someone's home, I'd get a phone call that night from either Oxis, who was Roy's wife, or my grandmother or Dory. I know where you were today, kid. You did a good job. So thank you for telling me I'm still doing a good job. Thank you.